Buenos días o buenas tardes, soy Phil Jones otra vez. En esta lección estamos hablando de la posesión en español. Esta información se encuentra en la página 52, del capítulo 2, estructura y uso 1. Okay. Again, if you've viewed these before, you know the purpose of all of them. Not a one-time thing, but a review. Very, very important. If you haven't read the information, you stop now, read the information on page 52, then listen to my explanation, which is the alternative explanation. And as we participate, pause the video. Do not wait for me to give you the answers when we do the exercises. You must process it yourself to know if you understand it. That goes also for the activities that we'll do outside the book, and rewind, repeat, and review as often as you need to do so. As we think about possession in English, first and foremost, in Spanish, the apostrophe S does not exist. Let me say that again. You cannot say Juan's libro. You cannot say Maria's gato. It does not exist in Spanish, period. The way that you have to show a possession in Spanish is by a couple of ways. One is by using a possessive adjective that we'll talk about in just a second. The other one is by using the word de, And what that basically means is it's going to sound like, if you think it's structure-wise, it's going to sound something like this in Spanish. The book of the teacher, el libro de la profesora. You also saw in the book that when you have the de and the el coming together, and I'll put that up here, de plus el becomes del. So if this were a male professor, then you would say el libro del profesor, which would be el libro de el profesor, but we know that that is a contraction, so it comes together as del. But again, it helps me, and I hope that it will help you if you will think about just the awkward structure of the book of the teacher, the car of my Uncle John, the desk of the student. And if you will structure it like that, it will help you to remember that you use de in Spanish to show possession. I've had many, many students in the past who will forget this, and somewhere on the test will come up with Juan's carro. Does not exist, punto. Okay? When you're thinking about possessive adjectives, which is the chart that you saw on page 52, you will also note that just like everything else that I've told you about in Spanish, it has to agree in number and in gender. Except in this situation, it is important to know that it agrees with what is being possessed, not with the speaker. Doesn't matter if I'm a guy. So if I'm talking about my house, mine and my wife's house, and I'm talking about using the word our, has nothing to do with me, which you would automatically think nuestro. It has to do with house, casa, which is feminine. So it becomes nuestra casa, nuestra casa. Look at the chart, and I'll try to use similar charts that we use with the verbs so that you would understand and that you can make the relationship. And you may remember that in this section right here, you found the yo form. In this section, you found the to form, and notice the difference. This one does not have an accent, which means your. Notice that this was the él, ella, usted form. So similar forms so that you can see the possessive adjective that corresponds with the subject pronoun. Again, singular side, plural side. My, whatever it is. Our, on this side, whatever it is. You're familiar. When you know someone well, you use this one. Vuestro is the one that's used in Spain, used in literature, and used in biblically also. Third person, su or sus, his, her, are the your form, or the usted form. And then finally, there are the ustedes form, your, in Latin America. And again, notice that there are two forms on every one on the left side. So there's only a singular form and a plural form. On the right side, for the first two, there is a singular and a feminine or masculine form, so that the article, the noun that it agrees with is masculine, you have to use the nuestro. So, for example, nuestro carro, our car. Nuestra casa, our house. Nuestros carros, our cars. Nuestras casas, our houses. Again, number and gender, number and gender, number and gender. Let's do a couple of exercises with this. Si me acompañan por favor a la página 53, la actividad 2-7. This one we're using the form with de to show possession, not possessive adjectives. So it's going to sound like the bicycle of the grandmother. So look at number 1. And of course you also know that yellow is the color of the bicycle, so that has to agree with bicycle, which is feminine. Process just a second. Hit pause. And your answer should be something like this. La bicicleta amarilla de la abuela. La bicicleta amarilla de la abuela. Okay? Look at the next one. And again, pause me so that you can process this. The blue computers of the husband of Ana Maria. Of course, simplicity in English, we would say the blue computers, or Ana Maria's husband's blue computers. But again, structure it a little bit different in Spanish until you get used to it. Pause me if you need. Okay, should be computadoras azules. Let me get to the right place. Azules del esposo de Ana Maria. Remember, this one was a contraction, should be de el esposo, but we know when those two meet, they come together. Número 3, por favor. Las mochilas, the red backpacks, belong to the granddaughter. Pause me if needed. Mochilas rojas son de la nieta. Son de la nieta. And finally, número 4, the green car belongs to Juan Carlos's uncles. So in essence, the green cars are Juan Carlos's uncles. And that's many possessives in English, but in Spanish to say it, the green cars of the uncles or uncle and aunt of Juan Carlos. Pause me if needed. El coche verde es de los tíos de Juan Carlos. El coche verde should have an E there. And of course, coche is one way of saying car. The one that I typically use is carro from my experience in Central America. Okay, muy bien. Vamos a continuar al 2-8. Now we're changing just a little bit. We're going back to possessive adjectives. This is no longer the car of, the bike of. This is his car, her car, our house, using possessive adjectives back in the chart that I showed you. So number 1. Think about this one, my parents. Hopefully you know that it is. Mis padres. Pause me if needed, please. It is plural. Número 2, our family. Our family. Nuestra familia. It is singular. It is also feminine to agree with family. It has to be nuestra. If you put nuestro, it is incorrecto. Número 3, my brother Francisco Jose is Emperor of Austria. And of course, you're talking about Maximiliano here. So my brother, mi hermano Jose. Número 4, his palace. Now, this is a good point illustrated here. With his, su can mean many, many things. It can mean hers, it can mean yours, it can mean theirs. But in this case, we know we're talking about Francisco José's palace. His palace. Su palacio es enorme. My palace, mi palacio, en el parque de Chapultepec también es grande y majestuoso. And number 6, we're talking about our time. Time is masculine. Time is singular. So nuestro has to be nuestro because it has to agree with it. And then finally, her friend. Now this is a little bit confusing in English because you automatically think her and you think singular. Remember, it doesn't agree with the speaker are the possessor. It agrees with what is being possessed. Friends is the word that's being possessed, so it becomes sus. Okay, hope that helps you. I've also come up with additional practice from studyspanish.com. So if you will follow me to that link, please, we'll go through a few of those, and then I'll have some additional resources for you. All right, we're going to be choosing the correct translation. Again, I know I'm forgetting to pause as I should. You pause me when needed. Your, the informal one, clases, should be tus clases. Your formal telephone, su teléfono. His son, su hijo. Her children, sus hijos. Our daughter. Remember, daughter is feminine. Nuestra hija. Your car, informal. Tu carro. Their books. Sus libros. My books. Mi libro. And I know you can hear my dogs playing in the background. Ignore them. Pay attention to me. Okay? Write the correct word in order to form a logical response. ¿Dónde trabaja su esposo? Where does your husband work? It should be su esposo. Is his house big? Su casa es muy grande. Where is her store? Su tienda está en el centro. ¿Cómo están los padres de Ernesto? How are Ernest's parents? His parents are well. Sus padres, agreeing with parents, not with Ernesto. How old is her brother? Her brother is 5. Su hermano tiene 5 años. ¿Dónde están nuestros vecinos? Our neighbors are in their homes, agreeing both in number and gender. Nuestros vecinos. Cuando abren los niños sus regalos, ellos abren their presents. Sus regalos mañana. Do you need our books? And it is formal, so it becomes sus libros. All right, and again, back to the possessive, not the possessive adjective, sorry, showing possession with de, el libro de Juan. El libro de ella. You cannot say su here. The book of her. That sounds weird in English, I know, but it means her book. All right. Marta's pen, la pluma de Marta. And her pen, la pluma de ella. And hopefully if we hit submit, cross your fingers. Oops, we missed one. My husband. I didn't answer that one. It should be mi esposo. Mi esposo. Okay. I have provided a couple of other links here for you. The second one is Tontito Frito. And the first one is just some additional practice if you feel like you need to go a little bit deeper in this. Good luck to you, and we'll see you in the next video.